Hey everyone, this is John Gerhold. My partner Justin Hofstetter and I would like to present our idea of a K-12 social justice curriculum to you all. Our idea is to bring this social justice curriculum to our school district. Our district's been doing a great job with equity and inclusion training. This would be a great next step to bring this curriculum to all students. That way, instead of just doing this twice throughout a year with our equity training, we can actually do this every day. The goal behind this is to increase student belonging, reduce prejudice, and teaching our students how to stand up and take action when they see an injustice. So some of the reasons that brought us to this, our panorama data shows that students are self-reporting in high numbers that they do not feel a sense of belonging. One of the districts or one of the schools that I do my training at, there was only 40% of the students that felt connected to the school, and only 20% of the students felt connected to a teacher. And that's alarming. If we're truly being champions for all students, we really need to focus and fix that. Staff at all levels frequently question the practical aspects of equity and inclusion. This is going to be pretty clear cut what we're trying to achieve so everybody can get on board with this. And then also teachers not feeling prepared to have these difficult talks about racism. So some of our panorama data to help kind of drive this, students aren't spending a lot of time with people of different races. We're not teaching and learning about different cultures. Students aren't really even feeling like other students from different races are even being treated fairly. And in a district our size, this is over thousands of students experiencing this every day. Some of the student responses that we have, a lot of kids say slurs like it's no big deal, and a lot of teachers seem to ignore it. One of the issues in training, when we looked over some of these student responses, are that students or teachers are hearing this. They're not prepared to deal with these issues. They're scared to have these difficult conversations. Not only do they not feel unprepared, but they also are worried that they could lose their job if they don't navigate these conversations correctly. So this training or this curriculum really does a great job of kind of giving them a plan to help navigate these conversations.
So when we think about our panorama data and we think about those areas where we are failing to reach our students and failing to be the justice educators that we want to be for our students, our best metric was 80% of students responding positively. In a district our size, that leaves over 4,000 students feeling like we as educators are not doing enough to ensure fair and equitable treatment for students of all races, all backgrounds, all identity structures. When we think about what we're doing as educators, as Ibram X said in How to Be Anti-Racist, it's no longer enough to not be racist. We need to find ways to be actively anti-racist, and that is where our elementary and middle and high school social justice curriculum comes in. So this is a social justice curriculum that is adapted from Teaching Tolerance. You can find more information at tolerance.org. There is a link in the materials that we have provided to you. But this Teaching Tolerance curriculum related to social justice takes students and educators through the 4 domains of social justice. We begin with the discovery of self and the exploration of one's own identity spheres and how those color and influence and shape the way that we interact with the world. As we understand ourselves, then we move into understanding others and understanding how other individuals' identity spheres color the way that they interact with the world and color their experiences. And we start to develop that empathy, having really discovered ourselves, then we start to discover others. As we develop our empathy and develop our understanding of others, then we dig deep and we study the actions of other people as they fought for justice. And we look to understand what others have done in the past to move for justice based on racial, ethnic, gender, or any other identity sphere's equity. As we study those past actions and we start to understand what matters most to us and what others have done to fight for justice, then we look for ways to practice taking action ourselves. This is where we empower students to help make this district more their home and help them take control of what they believe needs to change in our district, because there are more of them than there are of us, and we need to make sure that this is their district, not ours. One of the biggest concerns I hear when programs like this are proposed is that we have to find ways to make time for it. And the best part of the teaching tolerant social justice curriculum is that this isn't something that we need to make time for. This isn't something that we need to block out time for. Rather, this is a framework that can surround and support what we are doing as a district already, and it's something that we can work into our existing curricula to make sure that our teaching is not just meeting state standards, not just meeting content standards, but also helping to develop students as efficacious agents for justice and people who can make this school district their own. This social justice curriculum framework is intended to increase student belonging and encourage students to understand, address, and identify injustices that they see both on the personal level and on the systemic level. Tolerance.org explains that educators use our materials to supplement the curriculum, to inform their practices, and to create civil and inclusive school communities where children are respected, valued, and welcome participants, which all lines up to our district idea of being champions for all students. We just want to make sure that we are helping the students also be champions for themselves. Additionally, when we think about the Portrait of a North Kansas City Schools graduate framework that we adopted in the fall, this social justice curriculum framework ties directly into so many of the core competencies that we outlined for our North Kansas City Schools graduates. We are developing these skills of empathy and integrity in our students. We are looking at that learner's mindset, letting students take control of understanding themselves and their surroundings and the people that they work with every day. And through that empathy, letting them start to identify and solve problems, adapt to a difficult world that they need to address what is not working for them, and especially communicating and collaborating with others that might not share the same viewpoints. As we develop these 4 domains of the social justice curriculum framework, we truly believe that all 7 of these core competencies will be right at the forefront of our students' learning. Thinking even further with our desired results, we want to build and engender a greater sense of belonging in all students. We want to make sure that our students are able to recognize and challenge prejudice, not just for themselves, but when prejudice affects those around them. We want students to develop the knowledge and skills to build empathy, to understand themselves deeply, and understand how others come from different identity spheres deeply as well. And finally, we want to make sure that our students are empowered to guide the process of making our schools more equitable. There are more of them than there are of us. This is their district, not ours. We come to these schools every single day to help these students make the world better and not vice versa. So this curriculum framework is a way to take all 20,000 plus students in the North Kansas City School District and help them become agents for the type of change that they feel needs to happen personally, educationally, and societally. Thank you.